He was a victim of school violence and thus could not stop it. He reads an exciting webtoon series where weak characters have been given particular tasks to attain powers and save them from this miserable life. But in reality, he hasn't seen any yet. He also wants special powers and shouts loudly begging for them, but sadly it is impossible in reality. Suddenly, a mission board appears in front of him and he gets shocked by it and he didn't dare to believe it to be true. The mission board turns on repeatedly during class asking him to accept or reject the mission. He accepts the mission as he is not even sure whether it is real or not. While touching the mission screen, he unintentionally pokes a girl named Rin, the class's most attractive girl. Rin slaps him and even demands from him to buy her a cake. He has to pay, of course. He was powerless and left, and he ran into the bullies and they hit him once more. After he returns home from school, he shouts in front of his family that he wants to quit school and want to study from home. He was confident that he will surely succeed in this and also become a YouTuber. His mother disagreed and he resentfully left the room. His mother is the only person he dares to yell at. There was no other option, so he pressed the mission board. The first mission was to apologize to his mother, and in return, he gets a golden card as a reward. It is a very simple mission and he just yells sorry to his mom. After that, a yellow card appears in front of him that says that if he uses that card he will grow 3 centimeters in height. He ran outside to show his mother that he became taller and his sister believes that he was crazy. The next day, he goes back to school and everyone notices that Hyun looked taller than usual. He simply needed more tasks to improve and suddenly he receives his next mission. The next mission was to kiss Rin. Just at that moment, he ran into her and Chapter 1 ended here. Chapter 2 started with Rin being about to slap Hyun, but she didn't, since being slapped was an honor for many guys, and she wouldn't want to give him that honor. Hyun tried to find a button to cancel the mission, but the mission board appeared, warning him that all previous awards would be lost if he quits the task. Hyun was sitting in class, nervously muttering kisses, when the potato guy next to him noticed that and asked Hyun to set an example for potato guy, who, after hearing Hyun out, suggested that Hyun honestly asked Rin. Hyun thought it was an impossible mission because kissing would put him in jail. Potato guy then gave him a suggestion that if he couldn't seek her for help, he should pay for it. Hung agreed right away that his idea was too good. But when would Rin be alone herself? He immediately remembered that Rin always found an excuse to avoid attending physical education classes. Rin woke up from her sleep and found Hyun in the class. She sarcastically said Hyun was peeping at her while she was sleeping. Hyun was afraid he was going to ask Rin out on a date first, but didn't have the courage to do it. Hyun went to the table, took the milk carton, and asked Rin if she had kissed someone before. The bullies heard this, and they turn around and tease Hyun by recording it. Hyun pounced on them aggressively and demanded that they delete it right away, but they hit him again. They were about to start fighting again when Rin intervened. They all obeyed Rin's instructions. Rin did this so that Hyun could escape. Hyun left with sadness while thinking if he had known he couldn't complete the task, he would have given up earlier. However, the task was unexpectedly announced as successful. It turned out that Rin had unintentionally drunk the milk carton that Ryan had drunk. As a result, they indirectly kissed. Hyun received the reward and opened it right away, and Chapter 2 ends as well. Chapter 3 started with the yellow card reward opening the first time. With the first card, he was 3 cm taller. This time it gave him elite eyes, so Hyun no longer needed to wear glasses. He excitedly ran outside to show his mother, but she was nowhere to be found. Hyun's sister questioned what happened to his face. He made the uncertain explanation that he had fallen, but of course, she didn't believe it. Dahyun then reminded her brother not to reveal that he knew her from school since she felt embarrassed. The following day, when Hyun showed up for class, Changdong once more teased him and asked him to meet him by the school gate. After school, the helpless potato guy couldn't do anything and could only comfort Hyun. After some time, Hyun went to the gate to meet Changdong. Changdong repeatedly smacked Hyun in the face, and Hyun only apologized in the hope that it would end fast. However, when he realized that Hyun was that weak, Changdong slapped him even harder. He flew the cigarette away and demanded that Hyun pick it up for him. Hyun was going to take it up when his sister caught it. Hyun was so pretty that Changdong's attitude quickly changed. He grabbed Hyun's shoulders, attempting to appear familiar, and dragged Hyun to the restroom. He wanted to be closer to Hyun so that Hyun could introduce him to his sister. Hyun quickly declined and stated that she had nothing for him to know about her. Changdong, enraged, scolded Hyun for acting like a leech. Just as the potato guy came, he stopped Chang because he could no longer stand him. The potato guy was then severely beaten. As Hyun suddenly opened his mouth to curse the fat man punched Hyun in the face. Hyun learned a boxing technique from the silver card he'd received the day before, and he would now use it to complete his new task, which was to defeat Changdong. Chapter 3 ends here. Chapter 4 started with Hyun's jab. Jab was a difficult kickboxing technique to acquire, but Hyun used it effectively to punch Chang in the face. Changdong, who had no idea what was going on, rushed to punch Hyun, but Hyun didn't give him a chance. Hyun repeatedly struck Chang in the face till Changdong finally fell unconscious. Potato Guy was terrified and dragged Hyun away quickly. After assuming that Hyun had just killed people, they came to the place where the thugs frequently smoked. Just as Changdong had many friends, if they approached Hyun, he would definitely die. Thus, the situation was very serious. Hyun was a little pale as well, but this time he had to check through the rewards. After defeating Changdong, the girls discovered them there suddenly, and Potato Man is frightened because he thought they were hunting for Hyun. As Rin approached unexpectedly, when everyone was seeking Hyun, she advised him to return because she didn't want to see Hyun beaten in front of her any longer. In the end, Hyun was dragged back to the classroom. The thugs surrounded Hyun because they didn't think he could defeat Changdong was just using his body. They kept requesting that Hyun fights with them. Hyun was terrified and his mind began to rest with the idea that he should let them fight right away before Big Brother came, who was a monster and had only recently arrived at school but punched all the upper students. Big Brother Go Hajun arrived at this very moment and the thugs snuck up on him right away. Hajun approached Hyun and asked why he had punched Changdong. Then Hyun replied that it was because Changdong had insulted his family. Hajun no longer gave a damn, pointing at Hyun, saying, "If you know boxing, hit me." If Hyun hit Hajun once more, he would immediately ignore everything. Hyun felt pale and wondered whether hitting Hajun was truly necessary due to his weakness. He suddenly remembered the mission and deck of cards he received after completing it. Chapter 4 ends here. Chapter 5. Hyun checked the cards and found out that he had just received 1 silver card and 1 bronze card and discovered that he now gained 2 new skills: recovery and high sound. Hyun's sound skill was totally inappropriate in this situation, and even if he recovered, it was impossible to defeat the opponent using his recovery skills. As Hajun started to push Hyun to strike, Hyun finally gained the courage to strike Hajun directly in the face. Hyun launched several punches, but none was successful. Hajun delivered 1 blow and Hyun collapsed. By the time Hyun awoke, he was prepared to be beaten, but Hajun didn't hit him and even requested Hyun to smoke. Hyun was still terrified, suspecting that they didn't want to fight in class, so dragged him out there. Hajun handed Hyun a cigarette and apologized for what had happened earlier. He had simply acted respectively, which surprised Hyun very much. Hyun returned home still unsure of what kind of person Hajun was and expected that they would sneakily beat him the next day. The next day in class, Hyun was still obedient and waiting when Changdong arrived to inform him that Hajun wanted to see him. After school, Hyun turned pale as he thought he would eventually lose. Hyun went to a karaoke club where all of his school's big brothers were present. After Hajun handed Hung the microphone to sing, he used his high-pitched skills to hum, which caused his friends to squint their eyes. Hajun told everyone that Hyun was his friend, so they held onto Hugh's neck and danced. Hyun then realized that these guys weren't going to hit him. This was the first time he went to school having a good time. Now that he had Hajun's support, he didn't have to do the mission. The mission appeared out of nowhere saying that the instruction had ended and the official mission had begun. Within 3 days, Hyun had to defeat Go Hajun, the school's big brother. Thank you so much, everyone. If you want that the next chapters recap, let me know in the comments and feel free to give comments and any type of advice. See you soon.